So I think all of you on the call know me today, but my name's just in case you don't, my name's Paul Stringfellow. I'm technical director here at Gardner Systems, and also kind of an active member of the technical community as well. So I work with a couple of advice programs for a couple of our major vendors, and also present at a range of community events, vendor events, and even some professional events for kind of professional trade bodies. So, it's IT partnership has been a big part of my career, and particularly over probably the last 10 years. That kind of greater involvement in community has helped my career develop greatly. And has introduced me to people and solutions and technology trends that I probably otherwise wouldn't have had access to. So, the reason we really want to talk about partnerships today and why they're important, and when we talk about partnerships, we're not just talking about the partnerships that maybe some of you as our customers have with Gardner Systems or we have with vendors like Lenovo, but we're also talking about the relationships that customers have with vendors like Lenovo, the relationships that we have with our peer group, the relationships we have with special interest groups, if you like, those kind of technology specialist groups that you might be a part of, and talk about why those partnerships are important in potentially making your life an awful lot easier, and why do we need to why do we need to make our IT lives easier, because I think one of the things that we've seen, and in a lot of cases this has been exacerbated a lot over the last 15 months, is because one of the challenges that we see is that IT being difficult is often having broader impact on people's businesses. And I'm not saying whether that's the case in any of the organizations represented here today, but you've probably all felt some of those pressures, whether you're the CEO of a company, whether you're the CTO, whether you're the IT manager, or just somebody charged with delivering technology to a business. The evolving demands that the organizations that we're all a part of have placed on them every day, those kind of evolving business pressures are putting real strain and stress on businesses. We've all seen over the last 15 months that the requirement and the ability to adapt and need to be able to adapt has never been more important. And of course, for any business, technology plays a huge part in allowing those businesses to be flexible, because without technology, for many businesses today in kind of the modern environment that we operate in, the ability to be flexible, respond to change, to scale quickly, to enable new customers, new partners is hugely important. And some of the things that we've heard over the last 15 months, just kind of stories from our customers, is some of the challenges that they've seen and some of the challenges presented to their business have included things like those with, if we wind back to kind of March, April last year, we saw a lot of businesses come to us those with more traditional siloed thinking around the way their IT was implemented in an organization. They found the shift to this kind of more flexible and distributed working model much harder than some of the other organizations that we dealt with. One of the comments that we'd heard from a couple of the businesses we work with, which we thought was quite interesting, that in a couple of cases they kind of mentioned how underinvestment in technology inside of their organization over many years had really bitten them when they needed their technology to respond and react at the most important time. And we've also seen that for those organizations who had more traditional views of the way IT should be used, a more traditional view of IT strategy, we also found for a lot of those organizations that their transition and change and flexibility was really holding their businesses back. And I think one of the things that we see when we look at poor decisions being made around IT is that they have broader business impacts. They will drive up costs. So if you're running kind of a traditional IT infrastructure, there's cost associated with that. There's the cost of powering it, the cost of cooling it, the cost of maintaining it. There's also the cost that it has on a business in terms of lowering productivity when the business has had to evolve and we've had to deploy technical solutions, that when we've not been able to do that, the business has almost been fighting itself to be productive, to be responsive to customer needs. And it's also reduced the ability for people to react to the changes that they needed to be able to do. These kind of inflexible approaches have made IT difficult for a lot of organizations, and it's impacted them as a business. These aren't just technical problems, they're impacting their ability to be competitive, to win new customers, to quickly develop and deliver new products. And it also introduces risks. Poor IT decisions have introduced risk into many organizations, whether that's a risk in making them less competitive, or a risk in old equipment and old technology approaches impacting those businesses, in opening them up to broader security risks. Many of you would have had conversations with us where we talked about how the mode of working, James talked about it right at the beginning, actually, like most of us working from home, he's got a Doberman problem when he's trying to do a meeting. But for all of us, in lots of occasions, we have been moved out of a comfort zone, which has made us more more susceptible to potential security risk. But why has some of those poor decisions been made, and what's all that got to do with partnership? So if we look at the modern world that most businesses operate in, and I think everybody on this call is involved in technology and IT inside of their organizations in one way or another, what are the things that we're seeing that is making the IT job hard? And I say, what does that have to do with partnerships? Well, the first thing that we see making the IT world hard for organizations is data. It's the pressure being placed on us as organizations, as us as IT professionals in organizations. The push for, we've got data, and people keep telling us that data is this kind of magic secret source that we can, that will change our business with. Make that happen for me. We're getting, those kind of pressures of, we want to be data driven, whatever that means. We're storing more and more data. Nobody ever wants to throw data away because it might include some magic ingredients to making a business more successful in future. The challenge presented by the distributed workforce, we've already talked a couple of times already this morning about working from home. I'm presenting this from my loft. I think everybody, with the exception of Matt, is potentially in a is working from some kind of home office. But that distributed working challenge has been huge in terms of technology, but also been huge in terms of workforce and process, and the way that we look after people in our organizations. Cost pressure, we're being told all the time as businesses that we need to be more reactive, we need to be more agile. Again, a phrase that everybody likes on their presentation bingo card. But we're doing that with increasing cost pressures. I mentioned before, one of the interesting bits of feedback we've heard over the last 15 months or so has been where companies have not invested in IT. That's made their lives very difficult over the last 15 months. It has really come back to bite them. And we're all being asked to do solve these increasingly complex technology problems, but do so with reduced cost, reduced resources. And security, we talked to, certainly everybody on this call would have had a security conversation with us over the last 12, 15 months, 2 years probably. Because security, particularly with the way many organizations have changed, the adoption of cloud, the adoption of distributed working, the adoption of greater mobility, have all presented new and challenging security problems to our organizations. And that, and that's before we think of the ever-evolving outside threat, the ever-evolving regulation around the way that we need to look after data. So all of these things are putting pressure on us, and that's outside of the business pressure that's been placed on technology professionals inside of organizations. The businesses need technology to be able to adapt and be as flexible as they need to be to react to their customer engage, their own customer demands. But what's all that got to do with partnership? We've talked about this event is around partnership. It's about how, the importance of growing those kind of relationships and help. So, I think one of the things that we find is a constant problem. I'm talking from a Gardner Systems and even a personal point of view. This is kind of one of those moments where these are my views and not necessarily the views of Gardner Systems. But I think we often come across as people who work in the IT industry, who are supposed to be the people who know how technology works. We're often afraid to ask for help. We're often afraid to kind of go out and find people who might know more than we do. And that's one of the things that I think, certainly for people who are techies on the call, I think that's probably something that we do find challenging. But are the reasons that we should be doing that? Are the reasons that we should be going out and asking for help? Because I talked in kind of my introduction about one of the things probably over the last 10 years of my career that's changed it more than anything else has been making that choice to engage more broadly with community. And that includes not being afraid to go out and find expertise that I don't have, to go and look out for people who know things that I don't, who can help me solve problems that I don't necessarily know the answer to. People who I can go and talk to just run ideas past, just people I can speak to about maybe ideas I'm having or challenges that I've seen, and get their kind of view, get their counsel, and I've done that with some of the people on this call today. We've had conversations about different challenges, whether it's in their business or ours or something that I'm seeing elsewhere, and what their thoughts might be on how we solve that. So don't be afraid to go out and ask for that kind of help, because that brings expertise. What are other kind of things that we look for when we're looking to partner with people and don't be afraid to ask for help? Well, experience. I think one of the things that we find valuable as a company, again, just as gardeners, is people who've got experience doing things that we're trying to do or that we've been tasked with doing. Don't be afraid to go and look for that experience, because people come to different problems with a whole different range of experience. And if you're trying to solve all of the kind of problems we talked about in the first few minutes there, the challenging technologists and challenging business, it's very difficult to do with just the focus that we have inside of an organization. Because we talk about this a lot. For most people that we work with, I think one of the values that partnering with gardeners brings, for example, is that what we bring to a conversation is our experience of working with many businesses solving similar problems to the one that you have. Often the challenge that people have internally, and I think most of us have worked inside of an IT department in a single organization, that we're restricted to our view of the world. And I think one thing that often gets forgotten and that we find hugely valuable, and James will talk about this in a moment, it's actually why we asked James to kind of come and be involved in this conversation today, was around that kind of industry link, that partners can bring different links. And that's not necessarily just different links with vendors, that might be different links with peer groups who work in similar industries to you. So if you work in the manufacturing industry, you will know some people in manufacturing, but partners can bring to you experience from other manufacturing sectors that you might find valuable. So we find that we find that useful. And it would be remiss of me at the end of a presentation not to big Gardner Systems up a little bit and talk about, so because when we knew we were running this event, one of the things that we were interested in was that for those who do partner with us and choose to work with gardeners, what is it that we do well? What is it that makes us a good partner? And so some of this is conversations you have with customers. Some of this has been some introspective kind of viewing of our own to think, well, what is it that people find valuable when they talk to us? And I think one of the things that we bring, we talked about the importance of experience. As a company, we've been around now over 35 years. And as a business, we've had to evolve a lot over that time. So we bring, and there's people on this call who've been with gardeners from day one, and they bring with it their experience of evolution and being involved in running a business and being an IT business and working IT for a long time. We've got a long history of expertise and experience in helping customers solve all kinds of different problems. We've worked with many people on this call today in helping them to solve specific issues that are things that maybe it's the first time they're seeing them, but we've seen on multiple occasions. And we've also, something that we've always prided ourselves with is this kind of idea of industry leading relationships. We talk a lot, and I'll pinch one of Frank's phrases. He likes to talk a lot about how one of our goals is to bring industry leaders like Lenovo to our region. Today our region for most of us is working in a home office, talking on Teams or Zoom. But back in the day when we used to meet up in actual physical places, one of the things that we were always pleased to do was bring true global industry leaders to talk to businesses on Merseyside, as opposed to expecting people who are based in the Northwest to always be traveling to London or fly into Amsterdam or Paris to meet with industry leaders. So we've always been proud of kind of bringing that to the region. And we thought it would be nice to share just some of the comments that some of our customers have made about us over the time. So I really just wanted to take kind of this few minutes to build a little bit of context around why we think partnerships are important, where partnerships have been valuable to us, why we think they've been valuable to some of our customers. But what I'd like to do now is to kind of invite James to share some of his thoughts from a global vendor point of view. So James, I'd like to hand over to you to maybe share some of your experiences of why Lenovo see partnership as important as they do.
So hi everyone, my name's James Herman. I'm the data management practice lead for the UK and Ireland. That effectively means I'm the head of storage for the UK and Ireland. I've been in and around IT since the late 90s, so hopefully I've had a lot of shared fun and a lot of shared pain. A lot of you guys have had as well over the years. What I want to do today is back up what Paul was saying really around partnerships. I think it's sort of important really to set the scene a little bit and just to touch on who Lenovo ISG is, because a lot of people don't know. We like to think of ourselves as the best kept secret in the industry. One thing I just wanted to talk to you here, I'm not going to do a whole load of too much positioning or anything like that, because it's really, again, the partnership stuff I do want to get into. But one figure here I do want to draw everyone's attention to, which is the 90% figure. So as you know, we've had the Apollo program. We've been storing data back for decades, but 90% of all the world's data has been stored in the last 2 years alone. Now, words like exponential are thrown around a little bit too much, but I find that an absolutely staggering statistic, right? That means that data is the new gold, all that kind of good stuff, but increasingly we're going to be needing to be storing data, wherever that is, whether that's a cloud, on the premise, whether it's a business partner's data center or a partner like Microsoft. I think that's absolutely going to be crucial. Who are Lenovo? I'm sure you've all heard of the ThinkPads. And I'm sure you know that we're number one PC manufacturer in the world, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But I don't work for that bit. I work in the infrastructure solutions group, what used to be called the data center group at Lenovo. So what do? We're the infrastructure at the back end. So working with our partners like Gardner, they're having a conversation with customers about enabling the hybrid cloud, about high performance computing, and as such, we've got a number of accolades to our name. We're the fastest growing storage vendor, all that kind of good stuff. In addition to that, I think Paul mentioned earlier on logistics. Yeah, so we are an award-winning logistics organization. So we are ranked by Gardner as the 5th best technology organization in the world for our logistics, for our supply chain logistics, not just amongst IT. We are ranked 12th, I believe, 12th in the world of all organizations. So we have the 12th best supply chain logistics out of all organizations in the world, as ranked by Gartner. What does that mean for you guys? Well, that means that if you've got at the moment we've got all these chip shortages, there are some hard disk constraints, all that kind of stuff out there. That means really Lenovo should for our partners and for our customers give them the best opportunity of hitting their projects and standing up those new applications, opening that new business unit in time. I think just one last first I want to talk to, and I think I want to phrase this one in the spirit of partnership. So we have 2 accolades in high performance computing. We are the largest high performance computer vendor in the world, and we also have the largest supercomputer in the world. Now, I've included a picture of it here. Why is the Barcelona supercomputer appearing on a presentation about partnering? Well, actually, it's probably a bit too small for you to see, but actually you can see the data center cables running up and down there, the brightly colored ones. When we first cabled up this supercomputer, we of course put industry standard gray, kind of cables in there, gray and black and white cables, but no, Barcelona, of course, Catalan, very proud. So in the spirit of partnership, we actually recabled the entire supercomputer for the University of Barcelona with cables in the color of Catalan. And I think that's the importance, really. Sounds like such a silly thing, but that you don't get that without partnership. I say it is about partnership. We at Lenovo believe in innovation. So where we can innovate and we believe we can bring the best products, the best solutions to market, we innovate and we make those solutions. We build those technology solutions, we build those engineering solutions, those software solutions, whatever it happens to be. But why reinvent the wheel to run over ourselves, right? The industry doesn't need another flavor of Linux. Red Hat's fantastic. We'll partner with them. Why should we put together a high performance computing solution? Microsoft have got one. VMware have one. Nutanix have one. We'll partner with them. And of course, you'll know clearly we get things like the likes of Intel processors and AMD processors. But even more importantly, IBM, for example, we use IBM's huge field service division to actually undertake our field service replacements, so our hot swap hard disks and all that. Why do we need to build a community of 1,000 men in vans when we can leverage our partnership with IBM and actually use their field services division instead? So right in the middle, I've made their logo a little bit larger. For me, as a head of data management, Netapp is our most important partnership. We clearly bought the x86 server business from IBM, as you'll know about, but we didn't have a storage platform to go along with that. So initially we took IBM storage, but you know, it's okay, but it isn't the best on the market. And we feel that Netapp has the best storage software on the market. So why should we, Lenovo, build one from scratch when the best we believe is out there? So we partnered with Netapp. We have an OEM relationship with Netapp where we OEM their operating systems onto our storage platforms. We have the lowest mean time between failures. We win all the speed benchmarks with our hardware. So now we have the industry's best storage software on the industry's fastest and most reliable hardware. Seems to make a lot of sense. And for us, that's one of the most important things, particularly for me, that partnering is all about. Now, I wouldn't be a vendor if I didn't put a magic quadrant slide up, would I? I think, you know, during week one, they put a chip in your brain that means you have to put a Gardner slide in your deck. And here's mine. So Lenovo, partnering, that partnership with Netapp, it's taking us from that niche box through that challenger box, and by 2021 into that leadership box, because we've partnered with a top right magic quadrant leader in that our storage partner of Netapp. I've talked a little bit about partnerships around OEM and around alliance partnerships and kind of software vendors we work with and so forth. But actually, what's really important to me, now I have built, along with the partners, a Lenovo Data Champion community. So clearly, Lenovo, we're a partner-driven organization. We've got one of our distributors, Arrow, joining us on the call today. And of course, Gardner Systems is one of our important partners as well. Now, I'm not part of our partner management community or our channel community. I'm a customer, commercial person and a manager of salespeople, have been all my life. So I actually manage a channel program that sits outside of the channel because I really want to build that community amongst my partners. So Gardner, they're in the Lenovo Data Champions. Well, oh, that's probably just all of your partners, James, and it's just a name for it. No, there are only 12 Lenovo Data Champion partners. There are 92 who have the right qualification, but they're not in the community. And clearly we deal with hundreds, I'd probably have to ask Nelly on this, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of partners. So actually, Gardner Systems is one of only 12, 13 partners on the Lenovo Data Champions community. Clearly, they're absolutely important to my success and crucial to our mutual success. What is the Lenovo Data Champion community? Well, actually, it is a community. So, you know, Frank, I think it's just you tonight, Frank. Frank will be joining me tonight with the rest of the Lenovo Data Champions on a video call where we have pizza and we have a few beers and we talk about the latest announcements around Lenovo, around the marketplace. We have a bit of a chat and a chinwag, and then we have a chap who does some sort of fun training for us at the end, so we have a bit of a laugh after we had a couple of beers and a few pizzas. And in fact, the guest speaker today is from Veeam, not even from Lenovo. That is our chosen partner for backup software, because Veeam's great. Why would we need to innovate and make it ourselves when we can partner with Veeam? So that's partnership all over. There's Lenovo Data Champions community. These people are both competitors, right, as well as also out there doing the same day job as everybody else. There's a lot of empathy in there. And as I say, I'll provide a few pizzas, beers for everybody. We'll have a bit of a chat and we'll hear from Veeam and see what exciting stuff's going on there, and then sit down for some mutual training. So this is a community. The first out and about community thing we're going to do when the COVID finally leaves us all alone is Lenovo is the title sponsor, again a partnership with Ducati, the MotoGP motor racing and bike manufacturer. And we are going to Silverstone on the 29th of August to see the MotoGP with our friends at Ducati, with our Lenovo Data Champion community. And hopefully we should have a bit of a laugh, a few drinks, because a lot of us, of course, I only joined Lenovo, and as I say, of course, I only joined Lenovo in December 2019. We started building the community in March 2020, so many of us have never met. I mean, I've had countless calls with Paul and with Frank, but we haven't actually met. So I'm really looking forward to it. It's been a great chance to meet the community people in actual face-to-face in person. So we're really looking forward to that. So this really is a community that we have put together amongst the Lenovo Data Champions. Just very quickly, because I think it's important again to sort of stress the element of partnership. Now, this is the entire Lenovo ISG portfolio. But many of you, of course, will have heard of the ThinkPads. But what you may not all know is that we own Motorola. So from Lenovo, we've got partnering with cellular providers, we've got partnering with desktop platform providers, and of course there's MyWorld, which is partnering with the VMs, putting AI data mining solutions using Hadoop, and we're a Microsoft Cloud Services partner. So you can come to it. Why did we build our own cloud like IBM Cloud? Well, Azure's great, so we'll become a Microsoft Azure partner, and so you can come and get your Azure Cloud Services from Lenovo via Gardner. I mean, that's really exciting. So my little world is that little green bit there. Now, I'm not going to go into this into too much detail, but once again, I think it's important to stress the importance of partnerships to Lenovo and to our channel, our partner community. So you can have your storage from Lenovo, where we've partnered with Netapp to take their ONTAP operating system on an OEM relationship, offering that unified platform I'm sure you guys know all about. But of course, using that platform ONTAP, you can tier cold data to Fabric, to the cloud using Fabric Pool, or you can use Cloud Volumes ONTAP to create in Azure or IBM Cloud. You can create that, that high availability target as well. And again, that's why we don't build our own cloud. We partner with people to make sure that happens. Get your backup from Veeam, again partnering, and we OEM Brocade's fiber channel switches as well. Now, a lot of time at this point, everyone says, why would we get ONTAP from Lenovo rather than ONTAP from Netapp? But just very quickly, in the bottom left-hand corner, you'll see fundamentals and SAN only. So leveraging our partnership with Netapp, we don't have to just copy what they do. We're able to actually have the flexibility, that spirit of partnership, and be able to deliver different size and scale of solutions to Netapp themselves. So we have different bundles of software, like the Fundamentals bundle, which is a bundle that Netapp don't offer, that sits in the middle between their high end and their low end, as well as being able to provide the same bundles you get from Netapp. We're able to de-unify a system and offer block storage only, SAN only. Why would we do that? Do you know what? You won't believe how much cost that saves. In fact, if you have a Fundamental SAN only box, it's approximately 45 to 50% cheaper than the equivalent premium or Netapp box. So there are real benefits to doing that, and that is about us leveraging our partnership with Netapp to enable us to actually offer customers something different rather than just being a clone of them themselves. Another interesting partnership, this came to me on a call with Paul earlier on in the week. So we have a 3-to-1 flash guarantee. So we have an all flash data efficiency guarantee. So we will say to customers with traditional storage platforms, we can replace that with a third of the capacity on an all flash disk, making a huge amount of savings. Okay, now, what's really exciting there is we've worked with Lenovo Financial Solutions and the financial banks that we work with, the likes of BNP Paribas, to actually offer a solution like this as a consumption-only model. Now you'll say to me, HP have GreenLake and Dell have whatever they've got, and we've got whatever they got. Ours is the only platform, consumption platform, that we will put in a data center free of charge on day one, and you only start paying for storage when you start consuming it. So that's us leveraging our finance partners through our actual bank. And this 3-to-1 storage efficiency guarantee is real, it's actually out there in the real. Indeed, we even see greater efficiencies than 3-to-1. We have customers on record talking about 8-to-1. In fact, there's one here, a Gelera, talking about 8-to-1 data efficiencies. We even have customers that talk to people about 20-to-1 on solutions like VDI and so on and so forth. So that's absolutely crucial and very interesting to us, and that's actually genuinely where we're winning and helping our partners position that 3-to-1 data efficiency guarantee with our customers and saving our customers money whilst improving their platforms and their technology, enabling to take things to market faster, think more in public sector, be more efficient, do more with less, and that's what we're really proud of, and that's what we're all about at Lenovo Data Management. So again, wouldn't be a vendor if I didn't start to wrap up a presentation with a whole load of fantastic logos, but I'm not just putting these up there, just to put them up there. Firstly, I'm deeply concerned as to who Jiffy Lube might be, but we'll gloss over that. I want to talk about Urban Animations. Urban Animations is a customer of ours, but they have entered into a joint marketing program with us where they're going to leverage Lenovo's brand, and we're going to leverage Urban Animations brand. So at some point, you'll probably see me in a caricatoon in a Wallace or Gromit style, or very little Wallace and Gromit paws over everything. So that's really exciting. And that was actually genuinely the customer who approached us and said, look, what we've got from you is fantastic. How can we, through partnership, leverage that and actually let each of us leverage each other's brand and presence to kind of further our own organizations and our own organization's profile. And if that doesn't sound like the spirit of partnership, I don't know what does. Funny that Urban Animations have come to us, because actually one of our big references globally is Dreamworks. That's not just about having a customer reference. So actually, at the end of this month, 29th of June, Kate from Dreamworks and our UK MD Ian are doing a joint webinar together where we talk about the partnership between Lenovo and Dreamworks. So this isn't about what we just technology and how that kind of thing. It's a little bit of why they chose it, but it's about hitting their green objectives as well as actually working together, that partnership. And it's a joint presentation between a customer and Lenovo. You are all invited to that. So 29th of June, that is suitable for technical people, non-technical people, non-IT people, partners, customers, distributors, other vendors. So anybody's welcome to come along and join that. And please do, if you need the details, I'll be more than happy to send you an email. But I think really for me, I've just sort of touched on where partnerships with our OEM partners, partnerships with our alliance partners like Veeam, crucial partnerships with our distributors like Arrow. But for me, most importantly, it's partnerships with our actual customer-facing partners, the likes of Gardner Systems, and also those partnerships with our customers like Dreamworks and Urban Animations. So thank you very much indeed. Once again.